It started how most of my trips do. Solo, in an airport, worried about money and whether I'd made the right call. But I always just get this feeling that I should go. It's always better to go and find out and maybe get skunked than to sit at home and wonder, right? It's a mindset that has afforded me plenty of waves and adventures over the years, but one that's also cost me a hell of a lot of money as well. Usually you have some inkling as to what to expect from a trip. You look at photos and videos, study the charts and read everything there is on the net. But for this trip, I struggled to find anything, which for me was all the more reason to go. So for better or worse, I rolled the dice and this is what happened. I'd spent so much cash on a trip where I didn't even know if there would be waves. So with a belly full of nerves and intense anticipation, I drove to check the surf in the dark on the first morning. It was freezing cold, low single-digit temperatures, and as I drove, I could see these huge silhouettes of mountains all around me. So after bend and a little bit of local traffic, I rocked up at the spot, and to my horror, it was basically flat. It was hard not to be a little devastated. I'd come so far and taken a big gamble, and it hadn't paid off. I sat in the car, blasting the heater, and watched for a while, and then suddenly, to my delight, these peaks just started rolling through. So with no time to waste, I suited up and just got out there. This. So yeah, just got in from a really fun little session. Basically just this little left wedge thing with nobody out. And that is exactly why I like surfing. Because, I mean, it wasn't epic, but that was just like one of those fun little sessions that just reminded me like why I actually surf. But when I rocked up, it was like a little bit small. And I was like, oh no, it's skunked again. So I sat here and watched it for a bit and waited for the tide to get a bit lower, and then there was a few fun looking wedges coming through, and I got out there and there's a few real fun peaks for like backside turns. So I wore a 5mm and then a 5mm boots, 3mm gloves, and then I actually chucked on, oh, I can't even talk because my lips are so numb. I actually wore a thermal hooded vest underneath my hooded wetsuit, so I had 2 hoods on. And at the start, when I was catching loads of waves, I was actually really warm, but then it got a bit slower and I was sat there for a while. And I think when you're sat out there in these sort of climates, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, you're always going to get cold and you can't like recover from it. So my hands and feet and everything was just numb at the end. It was a dreamy first session. For somewhere this wild and rugged, I was so stoked to find waves to surf, and clean ones at that. I was so worried it was just going to be flat or too stormy the whole time. It was just amazing to find waves. Even though it was nothing world class, it was a little session where I felt alive, just surfing alone, surrounded by these huge snowy mountains, in cold, crystal clear water. I surfed for a few hours and then spent some time driving around, taking in the scenery under a calm sky. And this was just as well, because by the next morning, conditions had taken just a little bit of a turn. my gosh! What the fuck? Oh my god. I just want you guys to have a listen to this. That's the car shaking. The forecast was stormy, but I didn't quite realise how stormy it would be. From that day onwards, storm after storm just swept in, battering the coast. Pounding rain, hail, sleet, snow, and 70-mile-an-hour winds shook the car as I drove around. It was scary, and the first time I'd ever been frightened by wind. People are scared of the ocean here, and in local folklore, there are tales of fishermen being lost at sea because of a sea monster, and it's a fear that's been instilled into generations of locals. I think it could have more to do with the frequent 30-foot swells and 70-mile-an-hour winds. Either way, the conditions renewed my appreciation and fear for the power of the ocean. This is some of the wildest conditions I've ever seen. Sheep are happy though. It looks surfable from here, but you're looking with the wind, so I might have to write today off, to be honest. With such a battering of storms, there were only narrow windows of opportunity to go surfing. I spent so much time in the dark, checking conditions and trying to gauge what made spots tick. I had a few surfs where the wind backed off slightly and conditions became relatively calmer. But even for me, someone who is usually fired up to surf no matter what, pulling on a soaking wet wetsuit in -digit temperatures every morning with howling winds was always a bit of a battle, and not always that fun. I had several sessions where, let's just say, things didn't work out. Sessions where I paddled out and it looked small, and then suddenly there'd be these 6-foot closeout sets across the whole bay, or where the wind was so strong I couldn't even paddle into the waves, or was just surfing blind because of the spray. By far the most challenging place I've ever surfed, and I'm not just saying that to like make the video good. It's hard. It's like when you've got like extreme conditions as well, like winds 50+ mile an hour like most days, like 20-foot swell, and you're just trying to find like windows between when it's like not too hectic, and then when those windows don't turn out to be good, it's pretty hard to like stay motivated to keep like chasing waves around here. I mean, I've only been here a few days, got like another week or so. I'm gonna just keep going to see what I get. It was deflating to have such horrible surfs again and again. And I also had so many issues with my camera equipment. I had this self-filming camera that just kept dying on me. And the cold, the wind, the conditions, the logistics, it was just a nightmare to surf, let alone try and film and surf well. But everywhere you surf here, you're looking up at these enormous cliffs, and it's dark and stormy and you're the only one around. It was such a foreboding setting, an intimidating but incredible place to surf. I've never surfed anywhere like it. In the way. Look at that one. Waves look so fun though. Turn the temperature down a notch though, that last little sleet storm. It's fucking freezing. for lack of a better description. Yeah, I think it's like 3 degrees Celsius, but with a feels like temperature, whatever that means. I think it sort of factors in wind chill and whatnot. It's like in the minuses. See these huge storm clouds over there rolling through. It's so cool against the cliffs. Double hood. Good to go. Let's do it. So that was pretty fun. Super clean conditions. Whoa. All to myself, little wedges. Can't really complain with that, to be honest. And at one point there was this crazy hailstorm. It was like painful to look back at the beach. And then at one point a fun looking wave came, so I was like, oh, I've got to go. And caught it, and it was just so painful surfing into that hail. Man. God. But yeah, I didn't think I was going to get a window today. I thought it was going to be too big, but it actually ended up being way smaller than I thought, which is a good thing. And a hard place to score waves at, that's for sure. Oh, it's sweet when you're out there, like it's not actually that cold. Wetsuits are so good nowadays. And thanks Surface for kitting me out for this trip. Got 5mm heat model wetsuit, 3mm gloves, which you could probably do with 5mm here, to be honest. And then also 5mm boots and a thermal rashi that goes underneath, just because the suit's had a bit of wear in it. Thought that extra bit of warmth can't hurt. But man, when you get out and you're getting changed outside in these temperatures, it's never going to be fun no matter what you wear. I was reading this morning, it said 4 degrees is the temperature, 4 degrees Celsius, and then because of the wind chill factor, it feels like a temperature of -8, which is some of the coldest surfing I've done, I think. But yeah, kind of worth it once my feet warm up and my lips can move properly. It was a wild trip, a proper adventure, and while I didn't score anything world class on this one, it was epic to go somewhere off the beaten track and have a few fun surfs by myself in a stunning setting. It was a trip that inspired me to go against the grain a little and check out more lesser known surf destinations.